So as promised, I'm here to do my review for the IT Cosmetics brushes exclusively for Ulta that debuted this summer. And there are 3 collections of brushes and there are 60 brushes overall. So that's quite a lot to navigate through, and I'm gonna do my best to tell you the pros and cons and walk you through the brushes I have in my collection. So since there is quite a lot to go through in this review, I've decided to break this into 2 videos. So in this video, I'm going to cover the Velvet Luxe collection, and then the other video will cover the Airbrush collection and the Live Beautifully collection. So I have 5 face brushes and 2 eye brushes in this collection, and I'm going to go through each one and tell you the pros and cons. So the Velvet Luxe brushes are the luxury brushes of the entire collection. So if you're looking for luxury high-end brushes, these are the ones you would go with. And the brushes feature soft touch ergonomic handles. So they are a matte black, but they have a rubbery feel. So they're very soft and cushiony in the hand, and they have a ergonomic shape to them, so they're nicer to hold and handle. They also have a crystal embellishment at the end or the tip of each brush, and the bristles on these brushes are ultra soft. They're the softest of the entire collection. So based on the information on the Ulta website, these brushes feature ultra dense, micro fine, cruelty-free, which is key for a lot of people. I know a lot of people do prefer to have their bristles and their brushes and their makeup be cruelty-free, so that's something to note. And the bristles are also described as anti-microbial optical blurring here. And that is something key as well, because that means the bristles won't promote microorganisms and bacteria to build up in your brushes. It also says here that the handles are custom molded soft touch for maximum control, and they're ergonomically designed for ultimate comfort application. So ultimately, these brushes are designed to look like your little black dress. So I'm going to go into each of the brushes that I own, but just for reference, I wanted to show you that the packaging these come in, they come in a velvet pouch, so you can use this for storage, you can use this for travel. You can just pop your brush back in, snap it closed because it does have a little button, a snap button clasp right here, and then you can just travel with it just like that. And then on the actual pouch you have the description of the brush itself, and I think the way they package these does make them seem a little bit more high-end, a little bit more luxurious. You know, you get a velvet pouch to walk around with the brushes, so I think that is a nice added touch. So I'll go ahead and show you the design of the brushes a little bit more close up. As you can see, the ergonomic shape of the handle, you have a little dip here, so when you grip the brushes, however you choose to hold your brushes, it may be a little bit more comfortable in your hand. And this is a soft touch, kind of rubberized matte material, and it does feel very soft to the touch. And then on the end you'll notice a little crystal that just adds to the quaint, luxurious feature of these brushes. You'll see the IT Cosmetics logo printed on the ferrule of the brush, and the number and the description of the brush. I don't know if these are going to rub off because they don't seem to be easy to rub off, but that is where you can find the actual brush description. And the ferrule itself is a shiny, hard plastic material, which actually is a good touch because that means when your product gets on the ferrule itself, it's easy to clean versus having the full rubberized soft touch all the way up, because that can get a little bit dirtier a little bit faster. So first up we have the Velvet Luxe LBD Foundation Brush number 302, and this brush is $38. So this is the signature brush of the collection, which is why I thought I would start with it. And the description says, this brush is created especially for blending in foundation and blurring away skin imperfections. Medium domed brush head designed to blend evenly across all parts of your face, and it pairs well with your favorite powder, liquid, or cream foundation. So as described, this brush is a medium-sized domed brush. So it has a domed shape and it is very densely packed, which makes it great for blending in foundation and powders. And I think it is great for that. My only issue is that when you use this with a cream or a liquid, the bristles tend to stick together, and that's true for any of these brushes. When you use it with a liquid or a cream product, the bristles start sticking together and getting a very tacky feel to them. So you have to wash these brushes a little bit more regularly than you may be used to or than you want to, because the bristles just get stuck together, and then the blurring and buffing effect kind of gets diminished because of that, because you have product now that's sticking in and causing you not to be able to really move product around as much as you would like. So that is one drawback of any of these brushes, is that the bristles really stick together. But I think the brush itself is a great brush. It does work well for blurring foundation and blending it in. I actually really like it for foundation, but I prefer one of the other brushes for that, and I will get into that. But if you're looking for a nice brush that is gonna blend and blur foundation, liquid or powder, this is a nice brush. It's really soft. It blends product really well because it is so dense. It doesn't just splay all over your face. It's dense enough to just do great blending and buffing of foundation into your skin. So the next brush up is my favorite of the collection, and this is the one that I mentioned before. This is the Velvet Luxe LBD Bronzer Brush, the number 319. And this brush is described as densely packed and specifically designed for seamless bronzer application. Super fluffed, rounded, and easy to hold, this brush delivers even streak-free coverage every time and pairs well with your favorite cream or powder bronzers or any self-tanning products. Now, I don't use bronzer as much as someone else that's paler than me because I don't really need it, but I love this brush for all over color. So if I'm powdering my face, I love this for that. And that's the intention anyway, because that's what most people do with bronzer, is bronze up most of their skin. And it is so great. It is dense, but it's loose enough that it moves around. So it buffs and blends, but it's still loose enough to just not give a overly intense application of product. So I love this brush, and I prefer it over the foundation brush. It is a larger size, and I prefer this brush over this brush for foundation. So I'm actually gonna return this one and grab another one of this one, because I use this for powder and I want one for cream because of that that clinging effect that I was describing before, where the bristles get tacky and they stick together. So I want to have a separate one for cream. But this brush is one of my loves. It's a great brush for blending in foundation, buffing in powder, setting your foundation. It is absolutely great, and I think it would do really well for bronzer as well, because it is a large enough size where it can blend large areas, but it will really blur out the foundation and the bronzer so it doesn't look like all caked on. So this is my favorite brush. Feels great in the hand, and it works really well to just apply foundation or product, any powder product, over your skin really beautifully. So here are the two brushes together. This is the foundation brush, this is the bronzer brush. As you can see, the bronzer brush is a larger shape than the foundation brush, and I think it would be better for blending out and buffing foundation and other products all over the face. So next up is the Velvet Luxe Plush Foundation Brush number 304, which says it pairs well with any cream or liquid foundation. This brush is custom designed for fast coverage, densely packed, flat but wide brush head moves effortlessly over the skin, evenly applying cream and liquid foundations quickly. Now, this is a brush that I absolutely do not like in the collection at all. This is probably the one that sticks together the most. The bristles really start sticking together, feeling oily. They actually feel oily and greasy. And I just washed this brush and I still can't separate the bristles enough. So this is one that you're going to run into trouble with. And it says it pairs well with cream or liquid foundation. I would like to differ. If you like the shape of this brush, like a paddle-sized brush for your foundation, I think you should go with the airbrush version of this. This one is just going to take too much work to blend because the bristles stick together with cream or liquid, and you're going to have to wash this a lot. So I really don't think this one is worth it at all, so just don't even look at this one, skip this one altogether. Then next up we have the Velvet Luxe Soft Focus Sculpting Brush number 315, which is $34, and this one is especially created to apply and blend makeup along all the angles and curves of the face. and the dense angled brush is designed to seamlessly blend makeup into the skin, creating the look of definition. And this pairs well with your cream or powder. I like the brush. I am not in love with it. Let's just put it that way. It's definitely a friend-zoned brush. It's not a love of my life. It's a nice brush, and it's nice for contouring because of the shape, and it's tapered, so from the bottom up it gets wider as you go up and fluffier. So it has a nice shape that works well for contouring and well for applying even blush and highlight products like on your forehead, on your cheeks. But I just don't think it is worth the price for what it is. It does work really nicely, but it's so dense that when you try to blend out color, it doesn't do it as well as, say, one of the airbrush brushes, which are actually better aimed at blending out colors. So this one, again, this is one of those that I don't recommend. I don't think it's nice for applying color, but when you get into blending, it's not the easiest to blend. And if you are a beginner, you're gonna have trouble with this creating too harsh of a line. So this one, it's nice. It's not one that I would highly recommend. It's something to, if you want to try, I really wouldn't recommend trying it out either, because to me it's just not worth it. There are better brushes in the line for doing contouring. So this one is another skip, but it's not as much of a skip as the foundation brush. Now, last up of the face brushes is this big mama brush. It's the Velvet Luxe Empress fan brush, the number 324, and this retails for $48. And the description says this brush is designed for multiple beauty needs for both face and body. Its jumbo luxe ultra soft brush hairs are designed to apply powder to your face and body seamlessly and pairs well with your favorite powders. This brush is a big mama brush, and that's why they say face and body. So if you like applying bronzer or even highlight to your body, so maybe you want to put a little bit of powder on your décolleté, this is a great brush for that. It is really soft. I do think this is really soft. It's nice and fluffy. It's not dense enough where you can't blend out color, but I almost fell in love, but then I didn't. It's a nice brush. I try to use it for highlight. I don't typically use a fan brush, and I don't typically use it for the intended purposes. That I don't use brushes for the purposes they're saying. I don't apply powder on my body. I don't need this brush. So it's not one that I would use personally, but maybe it's something that you would use in your collection. So if you're big on powdering your body or covering large areas, I think it's a nice brush. I just don't think it's necessary in everybody's collection. It would be one of those brushes that are so specialized that you would have to really like the brush, really have a reason to get the brush, and you would have to really use it a lot for it to be worth the $48 to you. Another thing I wanted to note about this brush, and I think, no, just this one, the bristles kind of started going all kinds of directions, and I had to kind of form them in the ferrule to straighten them out. And that, I think, is a huge setback, a huge drawback of the Velvet Luxe brushes. If you're gonna be a luxury brush, then I shouldn't have issues with your bristles going all over the place and getting misaligned. So this brush, I don't know. It's up to you. I'm gonna return this one as well, but I wanted to share it with you before I returned it. It is really soft and it's really nice, but it's just not a brush that I grab for every day. So now we're moving on to the eye brushes, and my first up is the Velvet Luxe Effortless Crease Brush number 320, which is $26, and it says here, optically blur away imperfections with a brush so soft it makes you smile. It's love at first touch. Densely packed, dome-shaped head brush applies eyeshadow exactly where you want it. Now this brush is very soft, but it didn't really make me smile the way they said. The brush is very dense, but it's also very small, so it's not really that great for blending. But if you like defined areas, if you want precise application, this may be a brush to consider. It's meant for the crease, but if you have larger eyes, I don't see this one working for you. If you have smaller eyes, you may want to go check this one out because it's a small blending brush. But again, if you're a beginner and you have problems with harsh lines, this one will create harsh lines, but because it's soft, you can really buff in circular motions to blend out color. I just don't draw for this one. I don't grab for it. It is just not one that I personally would like to use in my collection, but it may be something for you to check out. I just don't see it as being that multi-purpose. And last up of the brushes is the Velvet Luxe Precision Eyeliner Brush number 326, which costs $24. And this is a small eyeliner brush. Now, it's not an angled eyeliner brush, it's not a flat eyeliner brush, it's a pointed eyeliner brush that I don't see any benefit to this other than applying eyeliner on my waterline. Now, from the description, this says the firm tapered head is designed to create precise lines. This brush, for me, it just doesn't do that. I can apply waterline liner with this no problem. I can even try to get close to my lash lines, but I don't see it creating a sharp defined line because of the shape of it. It has kind of a rounded tip. At the very tip, it's rounded. It's not a straight, like, sharp edge, so you won't create a very sharp, crisp line at all. But you can get very close to the lashes because of its small shape. So if you're someone who prefers to go exactly along your lash line, or you want a brush that can go exactly on your lower lash line, or put on waterline liner, then this might be a brush that you want to check out. It's a nice brush. I just think the $24 price line for an eyeliner brush is not worth it, especially for one that's not going to create that crisp, precise line that it says. So this one I wouldn't get into. I don't think the eye brushes I would get into in this line at all. The face brushes are more your bet in this luxe line. So I've gone into each of the brushes, and overall I think it's a nice line of brushes. I think the bristles are ultra soft. They're the softest in the entire collection. But even though the bristles are ultra soft and they're really dense and they feel really great against the skin, I just didn't find that they work the best with liquid or cream products because they tend to stick together and then they get really tacky, and that's not the best for applying liquid or cream products, especially if you want to use your brushes more than once and don't want to wash them every single time you use them. So that's one of the drawbacks, and when you wash them, they do take a little bit longer to dry because of the density of the bristles. They don't bleed, and I've had very minor shedding, just some loose hairs, nothing where I think the brush has fallen apart. I've had very minor shedding. They don't bleed, so the dye doesn't run out or anything. The bristles, however, do get kind of splayed and misaligned, which was kind of interesting to me because these are ultra luxe. They're not supposed to have issues with the bristles going all over the place. So that's something else to keep in mind. Overall, I don't think the Luxe edition or the Velvet Luxe brushes are the way to go. And as far as the ergonomic handles go, these do feel really nice in your hand. That soft touch, kind of rubberized grip, it's really nice. I think it feels really good in your hands, and it's a heavier brush, so it feels solid in your hands. And it's really nice, and the little crystal at the end is a nice touch. I think they're nice brushes, and if you want to grab one from the line, I would say grab either the LBD Foundation 302 brush or the LBD bronzer brush. These are great for buffing on products and cream, liquid. Again, if you're doing cream or liquid, just get ready to wash your brush a little bit more often. But they'd be great for powders and blushes and bronzer and powder foundation and setting your foundation because they are so ultra soft and dense, and they really can blur the lines of your foundation and blur any harsh lines. So I think these two I would recommend you checking out. I think these are the best ones I have in my collection. The other ones, the fan brush I think is worth it if you're going to use it a lot. But if it's not something you reach for every day, it's not something to grab. The other brushes, the other four, the eye brushes, I'd skip altogether, and these brushes just, I think they're better ones in the airbrush collection. So those are my overall thoughts, and I'll leave a link to the other video featuring the airbrush brushes, which is something that you should definitely check out in this line. I think those are my favorites altogether. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!